Welcome to Aging Insights. I'm Melissa Chalker, Deputy Director of the New Jersey Foundation for Aging. The Foundation's mission is to enable seniors to live with independence and dignity in their communities. Aging Insights is produced by the New Jersey Foundation for Aging to provide information and resources to boomers, seniors, and caregivers. The primary focus being to share important information and connect people to community-based programs. Today we're going to talk about art programs. Whether it's the act of making art yourself or just taking in some arts entertainment, there are various benefits for everyone, including older adults. Here to tell us more are Armisi Smith, Director of Arts Education at Arts Unbound, and Riva Fahrenbach-Breitman, Geriatric Case Manager at Jewish Family and Children's Service of Southern New Jersey. Thank you so much for being with me, both of you. I'm really excited to have you both here. And Armisi, I am going to start with you, and if you could tell us a little bit about what Arts Unbound is.
Absolutely. Arts Unbound is a nonprofit organization dedicated to the artistic achievement of people with disabilities, developmental disabilities, and physical disabilities. Mm-hmm. And we also work with seniors. Mm-hmm. We provide one-on-one instruction for our students, and we also provide group lessons for seniors and school groups.
Mm-hmm. And where are you located? What's your service area?
We are located in Orange.
Okay.
That is our main hub.
Mm-hmm.
We are now partnering with other organizations in New Milford, mm-hmm. And other places in Bergen County and also Essex County to provide additional services for people with disabilities.
That's great. And so you mentioned some senior-specific programs. One of those is the Arts Ambassador Program, which is something we'd like you to talk a little bit more about today, if you could tell us what that is.
Absolutely. That is a project that I developed, and it's kind of one of my pet projects. Mm-hmm. It's the Elder Arts Ambassadors Program. Mm-hmm. And the Elder Arts Ambassadors Program was really grew out of the need to help seniors with social isolation, mm-hmm. Build skills and confidence through the arts. Mm-hmm. The Arts Ambassadors Program, what we do is that we recruit seniors to participate in training, 9 mm-hmm. months of arts training, mm-hmm. in the foundational arts or the fine arts. Mm-hmm. They're taught by professional teaching artists. And they go through the training after 9 months, and then after 9 months, they go into their communities, mm-hmm. and they teach their peers, the seniors, mm-hmm. So that they have that peer-to-peer interaction. Mm-hmm. And also for the seniors to see that, yes, they can also be in a leadership position, mm-hmm. or in a position where they can be creative.
Yeah, this is a really fascinating, and I can't wait for you to dive in and tell us even more of the details about this. But I also, what you said, you've created this program, so it's a unique to your organization. It's kind of happening there in that area. And how is it funded? Where did that?
The program is funded through the Grotto Fund for Senior Care. Mm-hmm. They have been very generous, mm-hmm. With Arts Unbound, and mm-hmm. particularly around programming for seniors. Mm-hmm. And this particular program grew out of another initiative that we had where we were working with individual seniors, mm-hmm. in their homes and mm-hmm. doing the same type of like skill building, mm-hmm. and confidence building. Mm-hmm. We saw a connection there with the ambassador program that mm-hmm. a lot of these seniors were, leaders in their own right, mm-hmm. and that we wanted to, pull them together so mm-hmm. that they're working as a cohort, right. to eventually teach.
As you said, one of the primary goals is addressing social isolation. Yes. Isolation. So getting people out of their homes mm-hmm. and into group activity is a great way to do it. So I want to make sure we're clear in the distinction that there are two groups of seniors here. There's a group of seniors who are trained as instructors. They're people who are teaching the art, and then there are seniors who come and participate in those art classes. Absolutely. Led by their peers.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about how how the senior instructors, are they the ambassadors?
Yes, they are the ambassadors.
How are the ambassadors selected or recruited, and how does that come about?
The ambassadors are selected and recruited through our kind of internal resources, mm-hmm. through our teaching artists or instructors, Some of the ambassadors came via recommendation by me because I work with senior groups, and you know, you see like this evolution when you're working with a particular group over a course of weeks or months. Who is a leader? Who's an informal leader? Who's a formal leader? And so the recommendations came out of that.
And these are people who already have some level of art experience or interest, at least?
Yes, they have to be interested, or else it will work. So the art ambassadors are, they do have a level of experience, art experience. But what I really look for in an ambassador is somebody who can represent their community, and that they can represent their community in a way that is welcoming and that is authentic.
Yeah. And so then they go through this training process. Remind me, I think you said in the beginning, but I forgot, how long is the training for the ambassadors?
The training process is 9 months.
9 months. And this is with a professional arts instructor that does that.
Professional art instructor. We broke it out in 4 phases. So we build them up through drawing, learning the basics of art and design, and then we kind of go into like painting and collage and sculpture, sculpture. So we kind of move up the ladder in terms of skill building.
And so there is no one arts discipline or medium that's focused on it. They learn a variety.
They learn a variety, yes.
And then once they're done this 9 months, they go out and they're able to teach as a peer art teacher. And so how do their peers who want to become students in these classes, how do they find out about the classes?
Part of it is that I reach out into the community with which the ambassadors come from. So some of the ambassadors come from Montclair or South Orange or Orange or East Orange. So I go into their communities and talk to people either in the local library or where they live, and we schedule classes based on where the ambassadors themselves live.
Right. That's terrific. And so how do people sign up for a class if they're in that area and they're interested? How would they do that?
Well, what they would do is that they would call me or send me an email, say, we heard about the ambassador class. We would love for an ambassador to come and teach. And then I schedule the classes with the ambassador, and we go over what lessons that they're going to teach, what materials they're going to use, what surveys they're going to use at the end of the classes.
And I imagine people might be able to pick a class depending on their interests, like if they're interested in painting versus sculpting or drawing, or there's are the classes that way structured by discipline and not by just general
It's really one of the things that comes out of the program is that you see which discipline that a senior gravitates towards. So I really kind of work with their strengths. So if somebody is not as strong in drawing, I'm not going to assign them a drawing activity for a group of seniors. So we usually just go in and say, look, we're going to whatever we provide is going to be great.
Terrific. It's good to know that there's that variety and that ability to be flexible with the schedule and with the classes, so with the different forms of art, so to say. And so, this is something that is really unique and interesting, as I said, and I think it's great that you're here to share it with us. So tell us what you think, because I think both the arts ambassadors and the seniors participating in the art class are getting a benefit from doing this. So what do you think the greatest takeaway is for either of those individuals?
Well, I think the greatest takeaway is exposure, and also a way for seniors to express themselves, express themselves through the visual arts. And building confidence through the pieces that they create. I think that the success of a peer-to-peer model is that you don't have somebody like, me or, somebody, a little bit younger, come in and say, okay, this is how you have to do things. But to have somebody who is a reflection of who they are and say, yes, you can do it. If I can do it, if I'm in this situation or if I'm in this program, you too can eventually be in a program like this.
That's terrific. I think that is a really great takeaway and a really great piece to remember, that we're, you know, empowering these seniors, both the instructors and the people taking the class, to know that they can do it. And as we said, that social isolation piece is a big part of it too, is getting people to socialize and be amongst their peers and do something fun and interesting. So I really am grateful that you've come today to share about the program with us, and we really are, you know, we'll let people know how to get in touch with you so they can learn more, and maybe for folks in the area can sign up for some art classes. So that takes us to Riva. And Riva, I'm equally excited that you're here to talk to us about how your organization is using arts. But can you first tell us about Jewish Family and Children's Services of Southern New Jersey?
Sure. Well, we're a nonprofit agency, and we provide a vast array of social services to individuals and families in need. We have a senior services department, special needs, family assistance, and counseling, which just barely touches the iceberg of what we do.
It's a very large organization.
Yeah, but we serve people of all ages, faiths, sexual orientations, and economic backgrounds in Camden, Burlington, and Gloucester counties, and then Holocaust survivors down in Vineland.
Terrific. I know your organization has a lot of really great programs, but we're here today to talk specifically about your Cafe Connections program, which is another way to use art with older adults and specifically with those who might be experiencing dementia or other cognitive issues. And so I want to talk about Cafe Connections for sure, but there's a really interesting story about how it came about. So if you could give us the brief version of how Cafe Connections came about, because it was a really interesting thing that your community did to come up with this idea.
Yeah. So. Well, it was something I was kicking around in my head for years. And then our community, our Jewish Federation, announced that they were going to have a community Shark Tank event.
So for people who might not know, Shark Tank is a show on television where people bring ideas, inventors bring ideas, and then a group of people with a lot of money fund that program or that invention to move forward. So your community did so with a programming aspect, right?
Right. So, you know, they had done a population study and had identified primary areas that they were interested in, and they had a group of philanthropic individuals in the community who were willing to give money. And so we had this process of making presentations, and that's how it came about. It's a partnership, actually, between Jewish Family Service, the Katz Jewish Community Center, and Jewish Senior Housing and Healthcare Service, which has our subsidized housing buildings and a continuing care retirement community.
So your presentation won them over, and then you were funded to start the program. So tell us what Cafe Connections is.
Okay, so Cafe Connection is a memory cafe, and it's a place where people, individuals who have memory challenges, cognitive challenges, come with a care partner for a program that occurs once a month. It's actually the second Thursday of the month, and it's a 2-hour program. And this was our 18th month, and what happens is people come the first half hour, they have coffee and sweets, and our sweets are actually prepared by another one of our programs for special needs individuals. It's called Soups and Sweets. It's a training program in culinary arts.
That's terrific.
And their stuff is delicious. So it really helps both ways. And so our individuals are greeted by volunteers and staff, and they help to find a seat, and it's just the first half hour is socializing. Then the next hour, we have a community arts person. It could be music, it could be dancing, it could be horticulture, different kinds of crafts or clay, pottery, all kinds of things. We even had a laughter program, which on the face of it sounded odd, but it was so much fun.
I bet it was.
You can't be depressed if you're going around going ha ha ha, ha, you know. And it helps the core. It actually is an exercise. And then the last half hour, there's more time for socializing. Each month we have a community resource table that could be of interest of other organizations in the community, and that's it.
It's that's
Well,
a wonderful overview, but it's way more than that. I wouldn't say that's it. You know, I want to make the distinction also with your program that you mentioned. You know, care partners, and we're so used to saying caregivers, but you make the point of saying care partners. And what you mean by that is someone who's coming with the participant to the program. It could be a spouse, a sibling. You describe to us, you know, those relationships.
Right. So I'd say primarily it's spouses, but we have adult children, we have siblings, we have friends, and then some paid caregivers, sometimes who are coming with the spouse as well.
Right.
But it's not just somebody who's a caregiver. It's a bigger role, and part of what our volunteers do is model for the care partner how they can interact with their loved one.
Right.
So they're there, they're interacting with other care partners too, and that's an important aspect for them.
Absolutely.
But they're also learning how to involve their loved one.
So, I mean, many of our viewing audience probably knows that dealing with someone who might have some form of dementia or memory issue can be a real struggle. And so this program, you know, is so much more than just art, right? It's the idea that we're getting that socialization piece for both participants, but you are involving the care partner in a way that's giving them skills, but also giving them a respite, right? And giving them a connection and a chance to socialize as well.
And holding it in the community center. This is a place that many people came to all their lives, and now they were having trouble participating in programs, and so that created social isolation. They were staying home and not coming out. And here we're saying it's okay. Everybody gets it. You don't have to worry. It reduces the stigma of dementia. And, you know, it's just such a relaxed atmosphere. And we haven't had behavioral issues there. If somebody doesn't want to participate, okay, they don't have to. They're taking something in. You can't always tell what people are getting from a program. By the way, we don't require a diagnosis.
Oh, that is a very interesting point.
Yeah. Some people have not been identified by a doctor as having dementia, or some people haven't been told that they have dementia, again, because of the stigma. And so I don't require that, but I do have people with a variety of memory challenges. Alzheimer's, of course, is the biggest disease. Frontotemporal degeneration, vascular dementia, strokes, Parkinson's disease with
So that's
memory
that's a good point to make to let people understand that, you know, it's for more than just people think of dementia and they think of Alzheimer's, but there are many other ways that your memory and cognition can be affected. And this is a program that, regardless of which reason, you can participate in with your care partner.
I let people self-identify, and you know, and people are on a range. Because, of course, dementia, you have good days and bad days anyway.
Yeah, and it's different for everyone. You know, before the show, we were talking about that and how people react to different stimuli and things. So I'm sure in planning the type of activities you have to keep that in mind. I know we were talking in particular about music. Can you give us some examples of some of the music, types of music or music ways that you've used music in the program?
Right. Well, first I should say we divide responsibilities. So my colleague Marcy Wiener-Lahav, who's director of Senior Cultural and Judaic Services at the Katz Jewish Community Center, is the person who identifies the guest artists.
I see.
And so she really tries to mix it up. So in terms of music programs, there's a lot of singing, and we find that people remember songs from, 40 years ago. While we might bring song sheets, they oftentimes don't need it. Sometimes our guest artists will bring instruments too, so if somebody doesn't want to sing, they can keep the beats. We've had dance programs, which of course have music. We had somebody do sort of Celtic dancing. Now you would think, okay, how are these people doing it? Well, if they weren't ambulatory, she taught them how to do steps in their seat.
Yeah.
And again, it's the patterning of Celtic dancing. Many of our participants are Jewish because of where we are, and so we did a hora, and that was fun.
I bet.
But some people don't like the music programs. It's too loud for them. But
And so it's that balance of finding other things. When we were talking about art programs, I know that part of what they do at Arts Ambassadors is training people in sculpture, but you had someone come and bring clay, and they did sculpture as part of that. So, there's that difference.
Right.
There's that ability to bring in different mediums, whether it's singing or dancing or something that's tactile, because that can be really, fun for anybody, but for someone who's having a memory issue, or, to be able to, do that might, open up some other things for them or provide some stress relief, right?
yeah, my tagline for the program is to leave the disease at the door and just come in and relax and have a good time together. The care partners have that to-do list in their heads. And we say, just put it aside for these 2 hours and just relax.
Yeah. That's what I meant earlier when I said it's really much more than an arts program, and we can't forget the impact that the arts that you're bringing in have on the individuals. But it's so much more than that because of the stigma with memory issues and the stress for the care partners and their ability then, as you said, to leave everything at the door and come in and experience a true social experience with their peers. Again, another program using peers, because those care partners, if they're spouses or whatever, can sit with each other and look forward to seeing each other every month at the program and really, have that time, as we said earlier, as a real respite program as well. So I think that's a terrific way to utilize the program. So I really thank you both for sharing so much of this great information. Before we leave each other, though, are there last thoughts that you have about the importance of art in the community, or how other organizations could be utilizing programs like yours to really bring in the senior population?
Well, I really think that the arts is a keystone way of getting into the community and really touching the community, and particularly communities that have been, traditionally maligned or ignored. And so we want to be able to reach out to senior communities more, that our reach is a little bit further. And so, yes.
Terrific. I think that is great, a great thing to mention, that seniors, are in their communities, they might be aging in place, and the environment around them has changed, and so the ability for them to come in and be able to participate in something might give that whole community a new experience. So I think that's a great thing. So any additional things, Reva, for you about because you have a unique perspective here of getting your program started and underway with the way the funding came about. So any advice for other organizations that might be thinking about a memory cafe style program?
Well, you do your research. I was helped a lot by the Jewish Family Services in Boston, and we're willing to share and help other people get these started, because they're such a joy. I mean, the staff say after each cafe connection that it's like one of the highlights of our careers. And you can tell by my gray hair, it's like, it's not been, it's been a long career. And when I hear that some of my people get together and socialize outside of Cafe Connection, it just makes my heart sing.
So you've created relationships and support network for each other, which is so important as a caregiver or as a care partner, as you like to say, to have those community supports. So I think that's just another bonus of a program like that. So I really think whether someone's participating in art themselves or enjoying art as part of an entertainment aspect and getting that other added benefit out of it, that these are both really great socialization opportunities and really emphasize the ability of seniors to continue to participate in those type of activities as they get older. So I thank you both for coming today and taking time out of your schedules to share this information with us. And we'll make sure that our viewers know how to get in touch with both of your organizations to follow up on any questions or to participate. So I think that's really a terrific opportunity for folks. And thank all of you for sharing your time with us today. Aging Insights is produced by the New Jersey Foundation for Aging and is made possible by donations to the foundation. To become a sponsor for Aging Insights programs, please go to our website at www.njfoundationforaging.org or call us in the office at 609-421-0206. All of our previous shows may be viewed on the website. We want to remind you to find out about senior services in your area. Please contact your county office on aging. Their numbers are also on our website, or you can call the state hotline at 1-877-222-3737. Thank you for watching this episode of Aging Insights, and remember, aging is everyone's business.